The parking ticket mystery. A lesson in paying attention. Once upon a sunny Saturday morning in a small European town, a man named Luca decided to run a quick errand. He parked his car in front of a bakery, dashed in to grab some croissants, and came out within 5 minutes. But to his shock, a bright yellow parking ticket was fluttering under his windshield wiper. Furious, Luca scanned the street. No signs, no red lines, nothing. He looked around for the parking officer and spotted her, calmly sipping coffee at the cafe across the street. He marched over and demanded, "Excuse me, but why did you give me a ticket? I was barely 5 minutes." The officer smiled politely. "Did you read the sign above your car?" Luca squinted. Above his car, a tiny sign read, "Parking for dogs only. Humans park at your own risk." It was part of a local art project. The whole street was decorated with humorous signs to make people pay attention. Luca burst out laughing. "Okay, that's actually clever." The officer chuckled. "It worked, didn't it?" From that day on, Luca became the town's most careful sign reader. He even started collecting photos of funny signs and posting them on social media. And guess what? He went viral. Lesson of the story. Sometimes life's little annoyances are just reminders to slow down and pay attention. And hey, always read the signs, even if they're barking at you. The spaghetti incident, when first dates go slippery. Marco, a charming but slightly clumsy guy from Milan, finally got a date with Clara, the girl he had a crush on for months at his yoga class. Wanting to impress her, he took her to a fancy Italian restaurant. Classic, romantic, safe. What could go wrong? Everything. To begin with, he nervously ordered in what he thought was flawless Italian, only to accidentally request spaghetti with extra chili, no sauce, and a side of warm milk. The waiter blinked, nodded, and walked away silently. When the dish arrived, it was exactly what he'd said. Clara giggled, trying to hold it in. Then came the moment of disaster. Marco tried to twirl his spaghetti like a gentleman, but one extra-long noodle slipped, whipped into the air, and slapped Clara right on the cheek. Red chili oil. Right. On. Her. Face. Dead silence. Marco froze. Clara stared. And then she laughed. Hard. "You know what?" she said, wiping her cheek. "At least this date is unforgettable." They ended up skipping dessert and getting gelato from a food truck, laughing all the way. Lesson of the story: first dates don't have to be perfect. Sometimes the messiest moments make the best memories, and always, practice your spaghetti skills before date night. The IKEA date that wasn't. Thomas, a 31-year-old graphic designer from Copenhagen, had a genius idea. He invited his Tinder date Elise to IKEA, not for furniture, not for meatballs, but because, in his words, IKEA is the ultimate relationship test. "You see," he told his roommate, "if you can survive assembling a fake living room together without arguing over a lamp, that's real compatibility." Elise agreed, amused and mildly suspicious. They entered the IKEA maze with a playful spirit. At first it was fun, pointing at beds they'd never afford, arguing about drawer colors they'd never buy, laughing at furniture names that sounded like Viking Pokemon. But then came the chair. Thomas wanted the sleek, minimalist one called Clapness. Elise preferred the cozy, marshmallow-shaped Snowfard. 1 hour later, they were standing in the warehouse section, silently wheeling 2 separate flat-pack chairs, pretending they were still having fun. At the self-checkout, they both reached for the same last roll of cinnamon buns. It was the final straw. They burst out laughing. "I guess we failed the relationship test," Elise said. Thomas replied, "Or maybe we just needed separate chairs." They didn't date after that. But weeks later, Elise texted a picture of her cat sleeping in the Snowfard chair, saying, "Still the better choice." Thomas sent back a photo of him proudly assembling Clapness while holding a beer and crying. Moral of the story? Love doesn't always come flat-packed with instructions. Sometimes it's just 2 chairs, a cat, and the knowledge that cinnamon buns fix everything. Love in the elevator and 1 dropped croissant. Amelie worked in finance, Lucas was in marketing. They only saw each other once a week, during the Monday morning elevator ride. Always the same pattern. She held a travel mug, he held a croissant. Elevator music played something awkward, like smooth jazz. They nodded politely, said nothing. But on week 7, disaster struck. Lucas dropped his croissant. Amelie, without thinking, caught it with her coffee cup lid. It was like a slow-motion movie scene. He stared. "You just intercepted my breakfast." She replied, "Better than intercepting your budget proposal." They laughed, first time. After that, things changed. Lucas started timing his elevator ride to match hers. She started bringing 2 cups of coffee, one for me, one for my reflexes. One Monday, Lucas brought a croissant with a note. "Would you like to meet in a room where we don't have to pretend we hate Mondays?" They had lunch, then more lunches. Then one very awkward karaoke night at the office party where they accidentally sang a duet. Now, every Monday, they still take the elevator together. Same mug, same croissant, same music, but now, they hold hands. Moral of the story: true love might just be one dropped croissant away.